So how did I get to this? Well, let's go back and figure it out. Started out with Arch's hot press watercolor paper, a HB pencil, a 2B pencil, and a 4B pencil, along with a blending stump and an assortment of erasers. And also, we probably need a paintbrush just to brush away the eraser debris. All right, that's enough of that X-Files, Twilight Zone bullshit. Let's get on with the drawing. So I'm starting this off with my HB pencil. It's a 2mm lead and a Stedler holder. The reason I go with a 2mm lead most of the time is just because sometimes I can get a little bit heavy-handed, but it's something I've been trying to work on. They really seem to cover a lot more ground if you lay them on their side. And yeah, I mean, these are just kind of the pencils that I've gravitated towards, and this is kind of what I've stuck with. And when I say heavy-handed, I don't mean I'm pushing way too hard, but I'm pushing way too hard for, say, a 0.3 or a 0.5 pencil. 0.7 usually does me pretty good, but I know I'm pretty safe with a 2mm. I don't think I've ever snapped one of them. The black ones you see are actually Pacific Arc. They're from Hobby Lobby, so I was able to find them locally. Sometimes that's easier than, ordering them offline or something. Ordering them online, offline. I never know which way to go with that. But yeah, both of these, one is a 2B, one's a 4B. Unfortunately, fortunately, there's an indicator on the end, but unfortunately, it only goes up to 2B. So how I got around that basically is I take my pencil and whatever grade lead that I end up putting in it, I scratch it on the side. I wish they had an indicator that went higher. They don't. I wish there was different colored pencils, but all they had was black. I mean, actually, I could probably get some tape, maybe some different colored electrical tape or something to put around it, so that way they'd be color coded and it'd be a lot faster to grab the one I want. But for right now, just looking for the scratches seems to work okay for me. But anyway, the reason I am doing this on hot press watercolor paper is because initially I was planning on doing something different behind it. I wasn't sure if it was going to be watercolor, if it was going to be, water soluble graphite pencils. I ended up not going with either one of them, obviously, but at this point I didn't know how I was going to finish off the background. But it is probably my favorite paper to draw on, whether it be with graphite, ink, watercolor, you name it. Well, I don't know about markers. I don't know how markers hold up on it, if it bleeds at all. I've never tried that, but for my main three that I usually go to, it works great for any situation. And by markers, I'm talking about more like your Copics and that type of marker. I know that the Pigma Microns, they work great on it. I never had a problem with those on it at all either. But the Microns are more ink based instead of alcohol based, like your Copic. So yeah, I really don't have any idea how the paper would hold up with a Copic. I have a few. I should actually try it one of these days. But not today. Oh damn, I'm over 3 minutes in and I still haven't even talked about what I'm doing here. Yeah, I'm going at this with my HB. I'm mapping all the textures and different directions the fur's running and whatnot. I'm mapping all that in right now, the textures and the antlers, the tufts of hair and the ears. Everything runs a different direction, it seems like, so you kind of have to get a decent representation of all of that. Not to mention that this is also the point where I'll start working on my initial shading and working out where my highlights are and my darkest areas. I mean, I know it's still looking flat and everything right now, but you're starting to see the shape of it. Once I come in with my 2B and my 4B, that's when you'll really start seeing everything taking shape. How about if I just quiet down here for a little bit, and I'll be back when I get into my 2B. All right, I'm back and we're heading in with the 2B. What I'm starting to do now is I'm starting to enhance the darker areas. I am working from a reference photo, so I'm constantly checking that to see where my darkest areas are and kind of reflect that in my drawing. And if your reference photo is in color, a lot of times I'll change that to a black and white picture. I might adjust the contrast a little bit, the shadows the highlights. It just makes those transitions a little bit easier to see. But I only do that if I'm working on a black and white piece. If it's going to be in color, I won't change it to black and white. But that technique's always worked really well for me. The reason I decided on the whitetail buck deer for this video was, there's a couple reasons. One is we were in the middle of firearm season in Michigan at the time. And for two, I'd never done a deer that had actually turned out. So I thought I would put in some time and a little bit of extra effort and see if I couldn't get one to turn out the way I would like it to. And firearm season in Michigan is, and I'm sure it's this way in other states too, it's honestly almost like a 2-week holiday. And even before season starts, there's just so much planning that goes into it. You know, you have friends and family talking about where they're going to hunt this year, drawing out little maps of how they're going to get the big one this year and why this is the best spot for it. And even though it's mainly a solo endeavor, there's a lot of camaraderie that goes into it. And so many memories are made this time of year that it's just a really unique and great season. Now I'm coming back in with my 4B and I'm just darkening up some of the darkest areas. In the meantime, I'm trying not to drag my hand at all across my drawing. I don't want to smudge everything and ruin it that way. I was trying to do it without putting a slip sheet over top of it, just to make the video a little bit more interesting, not blocking out most of the image. Maybe next time I'll try that with a piece of tracing paper. That way you can still see what's going on underneath. Maybe that's the way to go. Anyway, back to the drawing. At this point, I pulled out my 4H because I still wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do in the background. I had kind of an idea, but I knew I wanted it different from what my reference photo was. So I pulled out my 4H and I started just kind of sketching in, a tree line in the back, maybe a field, closer to the foreground. And I just kind of felt it out until I was like, yeah, I think I can go with this. And then I moved on to my HB, and then I think I ended up going up to 2B on this. I wanted to kind of not make it quite as dark as the foreground, just to try to get a little bit more depth. I'm not sure that I pulled it off exactly the way I wanted it to, but in the end I think it still comes out really close to what I was imagining. Here's a funny little tidbit about conscious and subconscious thought. When I was mapping this background out, consciously I did not realize that what I was doing was, this was my view from my deer blind at my grandfather's when I was younger. Yeah, I did not realize that this was what I was doing. That's probably why I liked it, actually. I settled on this, but yeah, consciously. I didn't realize it until I was editing this video that that's what it was. And now looking at it, I can't unsee it. So, yeah, there's your subconscious at work. And finally, I'm getting into the last piece of the puzzle. I decided I wanted to put a cloud up in the sky just to, kind of break up the background a little bit, give it a little bit more interest. The problem was I haven't done a lot of clouds, so this was kind of another learning curve for me. I pulled up quite a few reference photos of cloud drawings in graphite and just kind of put this together from how I seen other people putting their clouds together. And the best tools I found for doing these clouds beyond my pencil was a kneaded eraser, a Tombow 2mm eraser, and my blending stump. Blending stump helped to kind of smooth the sky itself out a bit, helped soften a lot of the edges on the cloud itself, helped me shape it. But then I would come back in with my 2mm eraser like you see right here, and I would kind of shape in some more puffy spots. Is that the word I'm looking for? Puffy spots? Well, I think that's what I'm going to end up going with for right now. I like that term, puffy spots. puffy spots in the clouds. So I bet you all thought you were going to get away with not seeing my face this time. Nope, here I am. I just wanted to hop on here real quick and let everyone know that I'm probably not going to be putting out a video before the end of the year. It's possible maybe I get one, but highly probable that I don't. I've got so many drawings I need to get done that I just don't know that I'm going to have time for editing and all that. So I'll take this moment to wish everybody a happy holiday, and I hope to see you again in the new year. Y'all take care.